Let's talk Tanya for the 24th day of the second Adar. Yesterday we explained that the body of a mitzvah is the act of the mitzvah, the soul of the mitzvah is the kavanah, is the intent. And we explained that just like in a body and a soul, there's a different level of a godly energy present, a different voltage, different level of voltage. The same thing is also in mitzvahs. There's a greater revelation of godly energy in the kavanah and the intent of a mitzvah than in the act of a mitzvah. Now, the truth is, although we're dividing it into two, body and soul, in fact, everything is divided into four, not into two. And the reason for this is because all of creation comes from God's name. God's name has four letters to it, a yud and a hey and a vav and a hey. And because all of creation flows from God's name, so all of creation is divided into four in many different ways. One of the ways we see that is in terms of creation is divided into what's called doimim, tsemeach, chai, and medaber. Doimim is the inanimate, tsemeach is that which grows, vegetable, vegetation. Then there's chai, which is the animal kingdom, and medaber, the human being. And there's different levels of godly energy within these four different categories. You can't compare the amount of godly energy there is in a human being as what there is in a stone. And these four divide into body and soul. The top two, which is human beings and animals, they are more soul-like creatures, meaning that both human beings and animals are defined by their self-awareness, by their personalities, by their ability to make choices in what they are doing, as opposed to the bottom two, which is the inanimate and vegetation. These are more body-like substances and categories. So yes, there's body and soul, there's guf and neshama, and the top two, medaber and chai, human being and animals, are more defined by the soul. The bottom two, the vegetation and the inanimate, are more defined by their bodies. And as we're going to find out as the parah continues, the same is true also in terms of mitzvahs. Although we divided and we said there's a mitzvah with intent, which is a soul-like mitzvah. There's a mitzvah that is done without intent, which is a body-like mitzvah. But as we'll see later on in the chapter, there are actually four different levels, four different gradations, and with different levels of godly energy in the four. We'll get to that later on in the chapter, but first, we need to pause. We need to ask another question. Based on everything that we're saying today and yesterday, it would seem that there's more value to kavanah, to intent, than there is in the act, which is why there's a greater revelation of godliness in the intent, more so than in the action. Is that correct? Does God appreciate and desire the intent for a mitzvah, the love and the awe which is behind the mitzvah, more so than the act itself? Well, let's talk Tanya tomorrow and find out the answer to that question.